Welcome to episode number 283. And so today, Sarah and I are doing a bit of a review on the LDI trade show. We just got back from it. Well, I just got back from it. She's still in Las Vegas having a party. And it was fun. It was a blast. We're going to talk a bit about dining with dinosaurs, a little bit about some of the things that I saw or she saw that were great, just some of the fun times. And it was a blast, man. I missed not going to it last year for the first time, I think, in 30-something years. And so this year I was really happy to be back. It was a good show. It was crowded, lots of cool product, great friends, and some stories to tell as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Have fun. Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Geezers of Gear, episode number 283. Today's podcast is brought to you by Main Light, a national dry hire rental provider specializing in supplying the latest lighting technology and stage equipment. Their extensive rental inventory includes moving lights, truss solutions, control consoles, LEDs, and a selection of weather-resistant IP65 rated fixtures, perfect for outdoor venues. Committed to quality and reliability, Main Light also provide a robust selection of used sales options to their clients. Each item is meticulously maintained, owned by Main Light, and comes with a 60-day depot warranty, providing you with confidence in your purchase. Strategically located across the U.S., their 4 key locations are Teterboro, New Jersey, Wilmington, Delaware, Nashville, Tennessee, and Las Vegas, Nevada. They combine the vast resources of a national company with the attentive, personalized service of a local provider. Discover how Main Light can equip your next event by visiting mainlight.com today. And this episode is also brought to you by the recent award-winning Elation. Since 1992, Elation has revolutionized the lighting industry with an unwavering commitment to quality and innovation. Please take a moment to watch the following video with me.
Inspire your audience's imagination with Elation's Pulse Strobe Series. Designed to bolster creativity and deliver breathtaking kinetic intensity. The Pulse Series empowers designers to create dynamic lighting experiences that captivate any audience. The Pulse Series synthesizes mesmerizing lighting experiences with power and precision, allowing designers to create rhythmic, heart-pounding lighting effects with effortless control. Elation's Pulse Series.
What happened?
What happened, Marcel?
I
You
don't
left
know.
me.
Yeah,
You left me in Vegas.
a minute ago, we were having breakfast at the hotel at the Renaissance, the lovely Renaissance.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was funny because Sarah was staying at a different hotel, but I had a $50 a day credit, and I won't tell you why because it's embarrassing, but I had a $50 a day credit for the restaurant, and so Sarah came over and had breakfast every day.
Yeah, me and my husband, we gate crashed this hotel and had breakfast. And it was yummy every day.
Yeah. What was your favorite? What was your favorite? Which breakfast was your favorite?
Oh, avocado toast, of course.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a little weird, though. The avocado toast was weird. I kind of like the eggs Benny that your husband liked so much.
Yeah, he loved that.
It's funny because you don't think there's anyone on earth who's never had eggs Benedict, but in comes Manoli, and he's like, "What
Seriously,
is that?
what did you call him?
This?"
Crocodile Dundee in Vegas.
Crocodile Dundee Manoli. And the other funny thing was the first day we got there when we faked your birthday in the restaurant,
I know.
and we got Bloody Marys, and he's like, "What is this Bloody Mary?" He didn't like it so much. He's like, "Tomato juice with vodka." Yeah.
He hated it, but then the worst thing was that then 2 days later, we turned up and it actually was his birthday. And I was like,
I know.
It is his birthday.
Yeah. I think they think we're bullshitting, even though we were.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Every once in
But
a
the
while
funny
you gotta
thing
have.
is, like, really, because so for those of you that don't know, my husband's Greek, and really, he's not left the island. Well, he hasn't, a couple of places in Europe, but never as far as America. And
Yeah.
he's never had a Mexican meal, like apart
Yeah.
from my cooking, which doesn't count. So last night we went for a Mexican, and he's like, "Wow."
He saw God. And then today he's been on the toilet all day. Yeah.
Gross.
That's usually how Mexican gets you.
Yeah, he does.
Ooh, this tastes good. Let me have more
Oh,
until
those
the next day.
jalapenos, they're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Jeremy says, it really burns on the way out too. Yeah. So, this was what, like your second industry trade show, right? For our industry?
Third, actually, third.
Third. What was the other one? What was, because I know you did
So
Plaza.
Plaza was my very
Oh, and
first,
ProLight.
and ProLight.
Yeah, ProLight. I forgot about ProLight.
Yeah, and
So,
now here.
so what was, if I was to ask you your grand view of how did you like it? What'd you think? Like overall, big picture.
Overall, it was overwhelming. That's the
Yeah.
first thing. Like it's so intense, it's so busy, and I suppose being there for the 3 days. I mean, we were there for the grand opening, the clapping, coming into LDI. That was,
Yeah.
that was just great. And then coming in, and it was so busy everywhere.
Yeah.
I think my brain kind of went to mush, and everything I wanted to be there for, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and of course walking around with you, you knew everybody, and it was just like, okay. And I mean, both of us by the end of it, I mean, my back, my legs,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness, this is just insane.
Well, the concrete floors too, like standing around on concrete floors. I
Yeah,
remember
plus
when
you
they used to have carpet in the aisles too.
from an axe, go stand
Yeah.
at axe and just like spring
Oh,
around.
yeah. Yeah, Act has like this much padding on their floor. You can tell who's selling the real MA consoles and who's selling the fake ones.
Yeah, seriously, that was
Yeah.
like, I just went back there just to stand on their carpet.
I know. It was so relaxing standing on that carpet. Speaking of Act, it was pretty freaky on the first day running into Ben. And you've met Ben before or no?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh,
No.
so I'm good friends with Ben from Act. And he walked by me, didn't even notice him, walks
Yes.
up. And first of all, he's wearing a friggin' cowboy hat. So, a New York Jew in a cowboy hat just doesn't really catch me instantly, So then I took a second take and I'm like, Ben? And he goes, yeah, what's happening? And
Lost so much weight.
he's literally like I don't know, half of what he was last time I saw him, which wasn't that long ago. And, it's remarkable. Like I was blown away. Good on him, man. That probably just added 20 years to his life. Plus he looks
I've only
great.
seen him in photos, but really, I mean, you double took, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's Ben. That's
Yeah. I mean, he's skinny. He's little. He's small.
looks
Like,
amazing.
yeah.
And like you said, eating healthy, exercising, it works.
No, that's what he said. I said to him, Ben, how did you do it? And I'm expecting Ozempic and this and that drug and this doctor. And he goes, it's amazing. And I said, what? And he goes, apparently eating good and exercising is a thing, But
Oh, well, I
good
feel
on
like
him.
I've put on like 2 kilos just from being here. Like,
It's funny. I weighed myself when I got back and I was the same. So I
Yeah,
might have
you-
even
you-
lost a pound just from the walking around and
when we're
stuff.
walking around, yeah, true.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm used to eating like a pig when it comes to living in the United States, because everything's so big here.
It's hard here, really. It's hard. Like I come from a rich land full of natural vegetables and, all the rest of it. And every meal comes with so many vegetables, even in tavernas and everything, healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And here, I mean, I said to Manoli last night, I was like, what are we going to eat? And everywhere is like burgers and, all this. And so we opted for Mexican, which,
Yeah. Well,
thought
good
that was
for you.
kind
That
of
was a good
healthy.
choice. That was a good choice. Well, plus, when's the next time he's going to be back in Vegas? You might as well
Exactly.
experience as many things as you possibly can while you're here. So,
Exactly.
yeah. But overall, the show, aside from overwhelming, like comparing it to the other two shows that you've been to, how would you
Well, for
compare
me,
it?
Plaza was obviously that was my first one, and that's a lot smaller. But I felt that was more intimate at Plaza. So I
Yeah.
thought that one was more intimate. My
Well, was
ProLight,
that before or after COVID? I can't remember.
oh, that was after.
Yeah, so that's probably why it was more intimate. It was one of the earliest shows right after COVID,
Yeah.
and people were still freaked out, so a lot of people wouldn't go because they didn't want to be around crowds and they were nervous and stuff.
I
So
think I did come back with COVID from that night.
I think you did actually. Yeah, I remember
I
that.
did.
A lot of people did actually. I talked to a lot of people. Oh, I got freaking COVID at Plaza. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I think I did. And I was like, I felt really strange. Like, it's not how I normally feel. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I got
So
COVID.
you infected the Greek island of Crete with COVID.
I did. We didn't have it before I turned back.
That's funny. A good friend of mine, actually, in Canmore, the little town where I have my house up in Canada, was patient number one in maybe even Alberta, but certainly in Canmore. He was
Wow.
on a ski trip in France and didn't know he had got it. He was on the airplane and started kind of feeling sick and going, I feel like crap. I must have gotten a bug or something. And by the time he got to Alberta, the whole COVID thing had hit,
Right.
and he had it and was like patient one, which is a pretty crazy story. So, so yeah, Plaza smaller. What about ProLight? I mean,
I like
obviously bigger.
I mean, that for me was huge. And even as far as everybody's like booths, they were so much bigger
Yeah,
than here. So I remember even Robe, like they had like a huge stand and like dancers dancing in the
yeah,
rain to their lights. And so that was like really massive for me.
yeah,
And I suppose as well, I was on my own there.
yeah,
So that was kind of, again, very intimidating walking around a show and especially going to introduce yourself as, hi, I'm Sarah. And at the time I was like, Gear Source. Hi, I'm Sarah from Gear
yeah.
Source. People were like,
Who?
okay, hi.
What? Yeah, right. Yeah,
But you know me, I don't mind doing that. So I actually, walking around there, I mean, that was 3 days I was there. And that was really mega. And then coming to this one, obviously we were there the first day where we did so much walking around.
yeah,
You was introducing me to everybody. We
yeah,
had the amazing event that night, which I think we both, with upstaging, I think we
yeah. We'll
both
get to
like,
that. We'll get to
we
that.
we will, I know, but
Yeah,
we both were like, oh my
zonked.
goodness, like so tired. Come on, we're gonna have energy. Let's do it.
Yeah,
And then of course we had Dining with Dinosaurs the next day, which
yeah.
I know we're going to talk about, and that
Yeah, it
was
was a bit of a whirlwind. Like it's like
really,
you hit the ground the morning of the first day and you just keep going and going and going.
yeah. And
Um,
then on the last day when you left, so we had breakfast, and I I was going to say ProLight then, went to LDI, and oh, it was
dead.
dead.
Yeah, I knew
Yeah,
it would be. I knew
we
like
just
a
walked
freaking
around, and
Tuesday.
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but it was so nice. I got to meet Laurie from Behind the Scenes Foundation.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Um, Really, they had a great booth, and it's funny because where they were located, I kept on trying to find it throughout when we were walking around, but it wasn't. It didn't stand out as much. Then when I realised, oh yeah, that's it. So I went straight to see Laurie. Bought some amazing Christmas cards from them.
Oh, I love their cards. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got some nice Christmas cards for the family when I get back. And their setup was great there, and what they're doing, I spoke to her a lot about this. What they're doing for the industry is so huge because people are on the road so much that they need call it a safe space, that you need somewhere to go and to know that you can just talk, just do whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I was actually saying to her, a friend of mine, I don't know if she's doing it so much now. I think it kind of stopped really after COVID, but she was called Therapy on Tour. So she was a therapist and she went on tour, and I believe she was like doing both lighting and the therapy. And she was like, it was such a huge success because they gave her a little room. Anytime the crew could just come, talk to her. And then she also had clients that she would have online that, they could go back to their hotel rooms and then they could also chat like that.
Yeah.
And I said to Laurie, like, I think it's an amazing thing to do, to have a therapist on tour. But there's not many tours out there or tour manager tour productions that are going to pay for a therapist to come on tour, to give them a
Right.
room, to give them a bus, to give them all of these things, but then on the flip side, they'll pay for a tattoo artist.
Well, yeah.
Like,
But at the front end of that, you have to first give a shit. Like, first of all, you have to be like, mental health is important to this tour,
Yeah.
and it's important to me, and I want to make sure that we share that knowledge and share some resources and stuff, so that people, when they are struggling, because sometimes they do, people do struggle. You're away from your family, your spouses, whatever it is,
everything.
your
You could just
dog.
get someone that's just not feeling so good that day when you don't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I mean, I've been on many tours, and even for me, I've gone, my God, you're bloody rude, and then also I've taken a step back, and I'm like, why is that person being rude?
Yeah.
So, me being me, I have approached him at the time, or her at
Yeah.
a certain time, and I've gone, is everything okay? And then
Yeah.
that's it. Boom. No,
Yeah.
actually, my mum's really sick, or this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. I'm like, okay. I said, now, you can always come to me. You can talk. It won't go any further. And
Yeah.
the
But
next minute,
Sarah, the funny thing is though, like, yeah, the funny thing is that, or it's not so funny, but being of an older generation, being old like I am, we grew up really where you didn't go to therapists, and you didn't, you just dealt with your shit, and if you had real problems, you might call a sibling or something like that,
yeah,
but you wouldn't even go to your friends and say, hey, I'm struggling a bit today, because they'd
yeah.
punch you in the arm and go, get it together, man.
This is going to sound horrible. I think, how should I say, we have become
Well, we're softer.
no, we have. We've become
Yeah.
softer. I mean, my goodness, if
Some of that's
anything,
good, by the way. There's some real good to that. And, a recent guest, John Featherstone, I don't think he's soft. He's a very strong individual, very bright individual, but he celebrates, helping each other and taking care of each other and all of those things. And I know I've focused on it a lot more because, again, I'm not advocating that you need to be tough and just suck it up or whatever. I think that's one of the things. Like, I'm not a very woke person, but if you look at the woke crowd, it's one of the things that I really appreciate is the fact that people do reach out and help each other, and people do make that a priority now. And so I agree with you. I love what Lori's doing.
yeah,
I love that there's other resources in our industry doing the same thing.
there is other resources. For me, though, I think now with social media, so going back to we were like in older days, we were harder. Well, if we did something, say something stupid, maybe on a night out, whatever, on a tour,
Yeah.
well, it's forgotten about because it was done. Now, people have recorded it, it's uploaded onto Facebook, it's uploaded onto here, then the whole world knows.
Yeah.
So in a way, that's the saying of, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, that's not true anymore.
Not anymore. No.
That's
no,
not
I mean,
true
look
anymore.
at when these pop stars or whatever start coming out with a problem or something and they start getting piled on, look at all the evidence that comes out against people.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. I'm fortunate that I was a touring musician when there were no cell phones and there was no evidence. There just wasn't. Like, if you had a camera, it was this big. So nobody was sneaking a picture of you. It was a huge camera this big, right? And and nobody carried cameras. Now absolutely everyone carries a camera in their pocket. It's called an iPhone or whatever. And yeah, I mean, believe me, I thank God every day that there were no cell phones when I was a kid, because, I would have either been Instagram famous or, much worse than that, something much, much worse. I would have been one of this Me Too movement or something. I don't know. But yeah.
So going back to my highlight, I'm going to say was Dining with Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Meeting all of these legends, all in one place. And also some of them have been on the podcast. So to actually give them a hug. And I love that as well, because again, nobody knows me. They've just had an email from me. They've just had, they've seen, if they've been on the podcast, they've seen us like this.
Yeah.
And so many people, not just the dinosaurs, but so many people when we were walking around, it was like, hey, oh, you're Sarah. And it was a big hug.
Yeah.
And that for me was, that was also overwhelming. That was like, oh, wow. Okay. Like,
speaking of which, though, what about meeting me? You got to meet me on Saturday. We met finally.
Let me think about that. The first thing you did to me was gave me and my husband a Bloody Mary.
Well, hey, that's how we say hello here in America. Like in Greece,
No,
it's that
it was
crap that
fabulous.
you made me drink.
Look, without
What's
you,
that
I
crap
would.
called that you made me drink?
Oh, Raki.
Yeah. So see, like a Bloody Mary at least has flavor and it even has some nutrition. It's got some fruit in it, tomato juice, you know.
This has got
You give
fruit.
me
It's
this
great.
shit that I could run
It's
my
great.
BMW off of. It was fire. Racky it's called. And what I would say
Raki.
is Racky's wacky and stay away from it. Don't touch it. It's bad
It
for
kept
you.
keeps you awake a little bit longer.
Man, I don't know what it kept me, but it got me on my toes. It kept me warm, that's for sure. That was frightening. Yeah,
No,
so we did finally get to meet on Saturday. That was fun.
it was
And
fun. It was great. And I
yeah,
gave you a big hug too.
I know, I know. And then you kept hugging me. And so, anyways, yeah, I mean, walking around meeting people had to be, again, a little bit overwhelming for you because so many of these people you feel like you knew, like, you know, Scott DeVos, you know, the guy who helped us put together this whole Dining with Dinosaurs thing, meeting him. And he's such a lovely guy. He's such a nice guy, you know?
He has got a heart of gold,
Yeah.
and doing the events and seeing just how much pleasure. I mean, we've been in
It meant
contact.
so much to him. It meant so
Really.
much to him. It really did. Yeah.
And to a lot of people, you know, they were like everybody in that room, you know, coming together. It was probably, well, you know, the highlight, you know, of most.
Yeah.
And it certainly was for me, you know, even meeting Roy Bickle. I mean, he's
Yeah. Roy
such
Bickle
a
was awesome.
cool guy. I mean,
Roy Bickle was
seriously.
awesome.
I mean,
And
I
you
don't
look at
know.
that guy's story. I mean, you know, he literally was the guy who started rock and roll rigging, you know? Crazy story. That room. So we're now talking about Dining with Dinosaurs, which was an event where the general idea was we're going to get 14 or 15 people that we're calling dinosaurs, men and women. And, you know, the only real criteria is that we sort of set an age, and yes, we're being ageist and discriminating against young people at this point. Strike me dead. But we set an age at 60. You have to be over 60, and that doesn't mean that everybody over 60 is a dinosaur. So listen to all the disclaimers I'm dropping here because I don't want to offend anyone. But we set a sort of limit saying, and by the way, I think Seth Jackson cheated because I don't think Seth is 60.
He's not 60.
I don't think Seth is 60. So Seth, if you're listening to this, shame on you for cheating.
Yeah. Or you look absolutely incredible.
Or you look good for 60, damn.
60.
Yeah. But and by the way, it was great having Seth there, so I'm not knocking it. But yeah, so I mean, just different people from all kinds of different places and walks of life, you know, lighting designers, and unfortunately our token sound guy, Dave, I always pronounce his last name wrong.
I do, Shadone.
Shadone. Dave Shadone from Sound Image / now Claire Brothers, I guess. But Dave didn't make it because he was sick. Just like the day of, he was coming and just went, guys, I'm really sorry, I can't do it. But I mean, so we had the original concept was get these dinosaurs, you know, one at each table, and then a bunch of students / industry people / whoever wanted to come basically to sit at the table and ask questions and start discussions and hear stories and all kinds of cool things. Cool concept, right? Yeah. Well, it just became like this crazy free-for-all of information where you had sometimes 3 and 4 dinosaurs congregating at a table, and the 6 people who got to sit with them were just mind blown.
Yeah.
And I remember I was at one table where John Wiseman was talking to some younger people, a couple of young ladies actually.
Yeah.
And one of the girls said, like John was saying, you know, have you heard of Motley Crue? Nope. Have you heard of, or no, Motley Crue she had heard of, but he was naming a bunch of different bands and she'd never heard of them. And he said, well, what bands did you listen to, like growing up and stuff? Yeah. What music, rock music, do you remember? And she goes, oh, I loved Black Sabbath. And he goes, Black Sabbath, hang on a second. Well, guess who just happens to be in the room is Nick Jackson from Light and Sound Design. And so Nick Jackson comes over and he's like, okay, so I wasn't in Black Sabbath, but I lived in the same town that they grew up in and, you know, knew them from a very early age, worked with them a ton over their careers. And she starts asking him all these questions. And then they get into Motley Crue, and John's been with Motley Crue since forever. And, you know, just the banter. And John had a blast. Like John told me after, he said that was so refreshing. And, you know, Peter Morse loved it. Cosmo loved it. Jake Berry loved it. Like Jake at first was a little bit grumpy and kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to like this thing. And then he wouldn't shut up. I mean, the guy just had a blast, and his table was full all the time, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just such a killer. And the people who were coming in after the fact, like Nick Jackson and you know, production managers and massively famous television lighting people and other lighting people, and I was
To
just
me,
like, wow.
it was like a party. The beginning, always slow. You know, it was. Now looking back, you know, we could have definitely organized the start part, you know, a little bit better. You know, we've already discussed this.
Yeah.
But literally by the end, I mean, the only reason why we left that room was because they were de-rigging it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise everybody was still. So once it was kind of like announced that it was over,
Yeah.
you know, and slowly, please leave.
Yeah.
You know, everyone then started getting together again on different tables or standing up and talking. Like it really could have gone on for so much longer.
Well, and that's one of the things for next year. You know, next year, we've already got a lot of ideas of how we're going to change this. So, by the way, folks, there is going to be a next year. You know, LDI and most of the people who were there all told me that it was the event of the show. Like it was just, it wasn't the biggest. You know, there were probably a total of 100 people in the room or something, but it was the quality and the information that was shared, and even in a sense the format. I mean, the fact sitting and casually having lunch with some people while you're having conversation is a pretty cool thing. We are going to add some wrinkles and components to that'll change it a lot.
The potential that's there is huge. I think that's the thing. You know,
well, as a start, I mean, for the first time ever to have done that with no signage, no swag, no real branding, not much of anything, not much promotion. You know, I think we blew it out of the park. And I will say, and you got to promise not to start crying, but I will say that you killed it. You crushed it. You did a fantastic job. You did all the hard stuff. You know, I just got to show up and be the rock star. But
you know me too well. Don't say nice things about me.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. You can't start crying again. But no, you killed it. You did such a good job. You know, and again, like people, I don't know if you know this, but Sarah lives in Crete. She lives on an island in Greece. And from there, she's calling lighting designers and all these people in America and Canada and wherever, and making all these plans and working with Ellen at LDI. I really did nothing. You know, I helped sort of spawn the seed into a full-blown idea and concept, and then just handed it back to Sarah, who, you know, definitely pulled in Scott DeVos a lot, and you guys created it. You guys made it happen.
Both of you, though, you and Scott and Ellen, you all helped me, guided me throughout everything, and it was a pleasure to do it. And it was at the end, I think, when you did your little speech and people did clap me, I was like, why me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think people recognize what you were doing, you know, and I think even on this podcast, like people now know that, you know, I'm an idiot. I just show up and talk, and you're the one doing all the editing and the promoting and the booking of guests and managing the sponsors and all this stuff. So I get the credit, but you get the work. And so, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And so, you know, again, I mean, I have this problem where I always am the first person to volunteer to do things when I think that I can move the sticks. When I think that I can make an impact, I'm the first person to raise my hand and say, yes, I want to do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll jump in. Even if it's going to be, you know, sleepless nights and loads of work and all this stuff, and I get paid nothing. And sometimes people go, you're an idiot for doing this. But I just love it. Like if I can help to move something forward and make an impact, I want to do it. And so I went to the show thinking, okay, this is probably just a one-off thing. And as soon as I was in that room and I saw people starting to show up and I saw some of the conversations starting and stuff, I went, uh-oh, now we've done it. This is going to be big. Like, I think this could be, hundreds of people, hundreds of guests, and 50 or 60 dinosaurs, not 14.
Yeah.
But let's see. Like next year, we're going to change up the format, add some cool stuff. We'll definitely get some cool swag made and a lot more promotional materials and stuff, so that people know about it. Because I know after it was over, a lot of people went, "Hey, when is that thing? Somebody just told me about it." And I said, "Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
over."
know.
So,
Yeah,
although
no,
it was
that
the
is,
talk of the show.
as we said, we even need a big dinosaur going around LDI, like on the day, dressed up,
Are you
come
volunteering?
upstairs. Yeah, I am. I'll
Oh,
do
you're going to
anything.
dress in a dinosaur suit and walk around the show?
I will do anything. If it gets more people in, I'll do
Oh
anything.
boy, here we go. You heard it here.
Did
Although
you not
Sarah
see
does the
me
editing,
outside? I was
she'll
like,
delete it.
dinosaurs, come this way, come this way.
Yeah, yeah, I was doing that too. No, it was fun, man. It was really fun, and pat on our backs. I
Yeah.
think it was a good thing, and look forward to doing it next year. I think it's going to be really fun. And who knows, maybe at some point we'll grow into a Dining with Dinosaurs European edition that we do at the Plaza Show or at ISE or
Oh,
at
yeah.
one of the European shows, and do the same thing over there. So that was what day was that? That was on Monday. So
Yeah,
Sunday, you were saying, yeah, busy, crazy show. Um, you know, I know you probably can't talk much about products. Did you see any products that jumped out at you that you can remember what they were?
well, the only one was at Fairlight, which I don't think we can talk about, but that
Yeah,
that
we can
one
talk
was.
about that. We didn't sign
Well,
an NDA.
okay. I thought you couldn't do it. That one for me because it was the talk,
Yeah,
and basically because Chris Conti had said you got to go there.
yeah.
Like that for me, because obviously, yes, hands up. I don't know about oil
Much about
products.
product, yeah.
Okay,
But
you
you can
don't.
tell when there's something revolutionary happening.
You
Yeah,
can tell when something's revolutionary, and the fact that we've had Chris Conti on the show. I know all about Chris and
yeah.
how incredible he is.
Smart
So
dude. Yeah,
for him to endorse that, we all went boom straight,
yeah,
headed straight there, and that
yeah. So,
was.
so this thing, just to fill in some
Oh
blanks,
yeah,
because
sorry.
I know that Sarah's running out of information here. It's called the VL Hive, and
Tell you.
they were showing it in a private room. Couple of highlights. One is that it is to be made in the United States, which is a big, bold, and very exciting move, I think, on their part. I think it's going to be hard for them to do that because, as the cost starts creeping up, the sort of market starts shrinking.
But
So
I
they
think
do
it's a
need
huge
to.
selling point as well.
It is a huge selling point, but
Made in America. I know it's gonna
I mean, the
be.
point is, if it takes it from being a $6,000 light to being a $15,000 light, it's obviously very challenging.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how to explain what it is. Like a lot of people compared it to the Medusa or the Icon M back in the whatever it was, early 2000s when they came out with that. The Icon M, the Medusa, the M box. It's sort of what that vision was. It's a video-based light, and everything is a pixel. And the way you can control those pixels is really, really interesting. It does one of the best fire effects I think I've ever seen. It's bright as hell because that was one of the complaints with the Icon M and the Medusa and all of those things is that it was really hard to get intensity because I think at that time they were using LCD technology and you could only get so much light through them because they'd burn up and stuff. So now they're using LED, obviously, and each of the LEDs is a pixel in an array. And the way they manage those arrays, like, basically if you're using part of the light, not the whole array, all of the energy goes to part of the light. So you're still getting the same amount of lumens out of the front of the light. It's cool. Now, on the downside, what I would say is I think it's revolutionary in the idea that basically it's a step. I think it's a huge step towards digital lighting taking over and getting rid of all the gobos and color wheels and things like that. I think it's a massive step in the right direction. I don't think it's the destination. I think it's the journey. It's part of the journey, but it's not the destination yet. Do I think there's applications for it? Absolutely. Do I think they'll sell some? Yes, I do. Do I think it's the gotta have light yet? I don't know. I haven't seen enough yet. And to me, it's a very positive step, though, towards digital lighting. And again, it's called the VL Hive.
Yeah, that was it.
And
VL, that,
yeah. Yeah, and you had to sign a thing to get in there, but there was no NDA. I read it carefully to make sure that I wasn't going to step out of line and talk about the thing. But I think they've actually started doing some promotion on it too. So they're saying it's going to be shipping in like February or something.
Yeah,
like
they
really
said February, March, which I thought was like insane.
Yeah, it's pretty wild because it seems like when you've got new technology like that, it's going to take a heck of a lot longer. But I think they've been developing it for a while. So, and again, the really exciting thing is that it's going to be available soon,
Yeah.
and it's going to be made in the United States.
Another
Very
one for me was seeing the Martin Mac one up close.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tiny.
Yeah, I know. I love it. It's tiny and it's light. And, people think that they're one of our sponsors or something, but as much as I've tried to shake money out of those bastards at Martin, I can't yet. Friggin' Koreans, Samsung bastards won't pay us anything. But maybe they will after this wonderful promotion that I've just done, though, calling them bastards and cheap and everything. But, people know my history, I think, having been part of the foundation of Martin. I was there in the very early years and helped create that brand. But, I love seeing them succeed because part of Martin will always be in my blood. I'll always have a little bit of Martin running through my blood. And which is another reason they should sponsor us. Bastard.
And it's funny as well because for me, obviously, when I was with Gear Source with you, someone that I really, really used to love working together with was Ben and Joachim.
Ben Payne, yeah.
And Ben Payne, and Joachim. Yeah. And so as soon as I saw them, I went for a beeline just to say hi.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah. No, but the Mac one is really people have asked me already, what were your favorite products? And I said, well, for sure, two of them were the smallest and the biggest light there. That one and the GLP big, huge Sky Tracker thing was kind of cool too. You saw that, didn't you, at the GLP booth, German lighting product? It was this big around Sky Tracker thing that was just pointed up at the ceiling, and it had LED lenses like this over each of the LEDs. It was massive. But yeah, that was cool. But for sure, the Mac 1, I think that thing's going to be succeeding for a while yet. It hits a crazy price point that nothing else hits. It's light, it's small. They've come up with all kinds of cool accessories for it, bar of 4 and all these different things. It's a winner. It's a winner. If I owned a lighting company, I'd have hundreds of them. Talking
of winners, we got to say congratulations to Elation because they won the award.
Yeah, well, and also well-deserved. I don't know, you probably didn't spend much time looking at it, but I checked out that Paragon series, and the stuff is nice. It's bright, it's small, it's less weight.
No, I spent ages at the booth looking at everything. And
it's IP rated. It's IP rated. It's small. It's light. It's bright. It's very, very cool stuff. I think a lot of times when I see companies coming out with new ranges of light, I go, oh, okay, yeah, they added a gobo or something. This one really was pretty revolutionary, and I think it's going to become a real staple in their lineup. I think they're going to sell a shit ton of these Paragon fixtures. And good on them. I mean, that's a good thing. And they do sponsor us, Martin guys. So see how nice I talk about Elation? Because they actually do sponsor and support us. But they also had, and forgive me, I forget what it's called, but they have the little laser sourced fixture as well that is not, and this is going to go over your head a bit here. So I'm warning you. So you don't require a variance to use it in the United States. You don't need a laser variance to use it. And as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, people, I'm sure you will, it is the first laser-sourced fixture of all of these. There's a bunch of different ones out there from Claypaky and Ayrton and other companies. But it's the first one that does not require the variance. So Sarah, what that means is basically the ones that require a variance, anytime you use a laser in the United States, you have to basically this variance thing means that you have to have a technician on hand, and it's
I
got to be a
did know that,
certified
actually.
laser technician. And yeah, so it's a pain in the ass, basically. You can't just sell them to a company and then they go
Yeah.
put them on jobs. You have to scan them above people's heads. You can't put them in people's eyes, which is crazy because it's no brighter than any other fixture that you're pointing in people's eyes. So,
That was Cynthia that taught me that.
oh, wow.
Really? Yeah.
She actually learned something in 20 something years working for me.
I thought you meant reading.
ACT, another company that does actually support us, they released, so they had the Rivali, I think that came out last year at LDI, but they've now got their entire Ultimate series, and it's the first time I got to see it firsthand, and it's beautiful. I mean, those fixtures are beautiful. The ACT booth, I would have to say, was consistently the busiest booth on the show floor.
Yeah.
Packed.
From as soon as it opened, right the way through the end,
Yeah.
full. Right,
Well,
really.
but I mean, they have MA, they have Ayrton, they have
Yep. They've got PK Sound now.
they got PK Sound, they've got Robert Juliet, they've got
Green
Smoke
Hippo.
Factory, one of the big smoke companies. I can't remember which one. But yeah, I mean, they have killer product lines. So, you know, it's not that shocking that they'd be that busy, but still they were packed. Like that booth was, when I first walked in, I was like, it's full. It's going to look really empty after the first couple hours, but it was packed all the time. Full. What else did I see that I liked? I told you about the massive fixture from
I like
GLP.
the AI dog.
So it actually wasn't AI. It was a remote control dog.
It was a remote control, wasn't it?
Because I thought it was a fully autonomous robot dog at first, which would have been like $100,000 dog standing there, right? But it was still really cool, but it was remote control. And so it was one of those like little plasticky, not that little, it was probably this big, but it was a plasticky looking dog and had little laser light eyes or whatever, but it could jump, it could sit, it could come up and beg, it could bark, it could do all kinds of things. So funny story, did I show you the Gumper post?
I was just going to say your friend with the real dog.
So Andrew Gumper had his Frenchie bulldog, I think, there, and he posted a story on his Instagram, his dog running into that dog in the aisle and them fighting. And so the guy controlling the dog, he'd have it go into like attack mode and all this stuff. And the Gumper's dog was just losing his mind going after this dog. It was one of the funniest videos I've seen in weeks. It was absolutely hilarious. The real dog scrapping it out with the fake robot dog, which I guess we're going to see a lot of that in the future. That stuff's coming, you know. Like they've already they're testing and stuff on robot guard dogs now. You know,
there was a gentleman we met. Oh, I can't remember what his name is now. He had the amazing, like I'm gonna mess this bit up now. Anyway, he was talking and he was like, well, when there's a guard dog, you know, I'm gonna get a robot guard dog for sure, and then it can go do my clean the offices as well at the same time.
Well, I think he was just talking about a robot. I don't think he was talking about
robot,
a dog. Yeah, because it can well, and that's the thing. Like these robots are basically walking, talking, moving, whatever computers, and you can program them to do housework, you can program them to do yard work, you can program them to, you know, do warehouse work. They can do whatever you want them to do.
Right now, am I in favor? Should I say? I don't think I am. I'm all for certain technologies, AI coming into play. I am.
Yeah.
But when you are seeing that you're losing, I mean, you know, supermarkets, you have to go check out yourself. I hate it. I refuse. I go to the person.
Like that either. I don't like that either.
Because,
that's
you know,
bullshit.
you're complaining that we haven't got work. And this, you know,
but if it was a robot who was checking out for you as opposed to doing it yourself, you don't like it because you got to figure out how to scan the thing and all that stuff. Yeah. But if you just put your stuff on a belt just like you do now, and instead of a human, a robot was talking to you and saying, hey, Sarah, how are you today? Would you like some news? And it sits there and tells you the news while it's scanning all your groceries and bagging them.
I do it because I like to see a human, not a robot.
Well, get used to it because it's coming.
I know it's coming.
The least desirable
the good news is that we won't have jobs, so we can just do nothing.
Well, that's not true either because I'm not going to get a robot host. But you can,
I can easily replace you, Marcel. You know
oh,
that. I've
shut
got your
up.
voice.
Shut up. Um, no, I mean, I think the least desirable jobs will be the first ones to be replaced. Obviously,
Yeah.
cleaning toilets and shoveling shit in the yards and all this stuff, like that stuff is going to be replaced first. But I mean, cooking, like if
Yeah.
a robot can cook every bit as good as you can and you just input recipes into it and boom, it cooks up a unbelievable meal. Oh, stop it. I mean, it's different. If you're
Yeah.
passionate about cooking, I'm not. Would I have a
Yeah.
robot cook? Hell yes, I would. And it wouldn't bother me a bit. I wouldn't miss anything. But I know a lot of people who are passionate about cooking
Yeah.
who would be like, no, I don't want that. And great, then don't get one, you
Yeah.
know? So,
Well, I'm passionate about cleaning, so I'm not going to get
yeah.
one. Or
But you
just the
know what
fact I
though?
can afford it.
I'll give you a great line here. So, at one point in time, people fought using clocks to tell what time it was because they were using the sun. And it took a big argument to get them to stop using the sun and to start using a clock because they said, why? The sun is very accurate and I'll always know what time it is. You know what? Everybody wears a watch now and a clock and whatever, right? Like,
I know.
so it's just progress. And sometimes
In
progress
that
looks
though,
fishy.
you know me, I go by the sun, I go by the moon. As soon as it gets dark, I go to
That's why
sleep. And
you're
as
always
soon as
late for everything.
as soon as I wake up,
But the
it's
sun
the
was only
sun.
there. I don't care. It's 3:30. You're supposed to be here, you know? Yeah.
No, I've only got messed up being here in Vegas, and I'm just like, oh gosh, because normally with me and you, we meet like evening, for
Yeah.
anytime between 5 and 10 at night.
Right.
So then when you're messaging me at 7 o'clock in the morning, are we meeting?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when the shoe's on the other foot, huh? Yeah, it's
I
weird
can't
because I'm
wait to
3
go
hours
back
ahead of you
home.
now.
I'm ahead of you. Really,
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back home. And
Yeah.
I get everything done, and you wake up and you're like, this done, Sarah? Yes, myself. Yes,
Yeah.
myself. Here I'm like, no, myself, no, myself. It's only 7 o'clock in the morning, myself.
And see, you know what? I like it the other way. Like I like my house in Canada is on mountain time and all the sports start 2 hours earlier. Everything starts 2 hours. Formula One starts at like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's great. It's fantastic. Whereas, when you're in Europe or even on the East Coast, like I love UFC, for example. Well, UFC starts at 10 o'clock at night. By the time the good fight is on, like the final, is 1 o'clock in the morning. I can't stay awake for that.
I
I can't.
wouldn't stay awake for that.
I would, I have, but it's really, really hard and it screws up my next day.
Yes.
But it's a sport that I really love. And so sometimes there's fights I want to see. And so I like being in Canada because that same thing starts at 8 o'clock and it's over by like 1 in the morning, or sorry, it's over by like 11,
Yeah.
as opposed to 1 in the morning. So yeah, I mean, it's whatever.
But even here, you've struggled being here. I've struggled.
Because I was getting up at 2:30 in the morning,
Well,
3
that's what I
o'clock.
mean. But before you arrived, I mean, we literally couldn't keep our eyes open. 7 o'clock at night, that was it. Done. Like really
Yeah,
done. Then I was
yeah,
waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
wide awake, of course, because that's enough sleep.
yeah.
Yeah, really. But finally, we're getting into a good sleep pattern just as I'm leaving.
Yeah, yeah, and then you'll be screwed up when you get back to Europe. But the funny thing is, like, it's not that long ago, and people listening will know this, and all my friends who I have at LDI will know this. I didn't go to bed till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I was out partying with everybody else at LDI, but now, I don't think I lasted till 10 o'clock one night that I was there. I think I was in bed by 9:30 every night and up at 2:30 or 3 in the morning. Craziness. Crazy.
Yeah.
Also at the show, so MA3 consoles, right? Grand MA3 consoles. They're like 75, 80 grand, whatever they are. Well, so there's a Chinese brand called Fine or Fine Light, and they're a notorious copier. And one of the big things they did was back in the 90s or whatever it was, and actually it was the early 2000s, I think. The Mac 2000 came out from Martin and was wildly popular. And so they created the Fine 2000 or whatever, and it was a complete ripoff of the Mac 2000. And, Martin fought them like crazy and stuff. And I don't know that they ever won anything. Maybe they did. But, it's a problem. The sort of plagiarism or whatever you want to call it is a problem in our industry. But so anyways, never would you see it on the control side because it's very difficult. It's easy to look at a light fixture and to reverse engineer it, make the same gobo wheels, make the same motors, make the same framing shutters. It's pretty easy to copy a light fixture. But copying a lighting console or any type of control protocol is very difficult. Reverse engineering software is much harder than hardware, right? Well, they've basically copied the MA console. And not only that, they had one on display at their booth at the show.
No, I didn't see that.
Somebody posted a picture on social media of this console. I saw it. I saw it when I was there, but somebody posted a picture, and there's all kinds of conversation going on about it. But I'm just blown away by how ballsy they are to put that on their booth. I'm surprised that, because I saw it on the second day of the show, I'm surprised it was still there on the second day of the show. Like, you would have thought that MA would have had a cease and desist order and that console would have blankets over it or something, or would be taken right off the show floor. People have told me it's not identical. It looks identical, but it's not. There's some slight nuance differences, little tiny. And in the software, the software is more like the MA2 than the MA3. But I mean, the fact that you're even comparing it tells me it's too damn close and probably breaks all kinds of laws. But yeah, they sell for like, I don't know how much that exact one sells for, but I know that I've seen them for $5,000 or $6,000.
No.
Yeah. This is how big the problem is. Yeah. I mean, and so I've had people trying to sell these and calling them MA3 consoles on GearSource, and we've had to shut them down. We've had to remove those consoles from the website. Crazy, right? Yeah. Just nutty.
Goodness.
Yeah. So yeah, ballsy move by them. What else? Another funny story. So when I flew back here to South Florida, there were a couple of Chauvet people near me, and one of them was Dina, who's the sales manager, I don't know, sales vice president of sales. I'm not sure what her title is, from Chauvet. And so we were talking as we were waiting to get off the plane. And I said, how was the show? She told me. We had a little back and forth on that. And I said, hey, do you know who those guys from Volux are? Volux, I don't know if you remember seeing their booth, but it was a booth, a lighting booth there that I had just never heard of the brand before. And they actually had a really nice booth and a really nice show. Don't know anything if the products are any good or anything. It's another Chinese import that, looked okay, but I don't know. But anyways, the guy across the aisle from me stands up and he goes, yep, that's me. I'm like, oh, hey, you're the Volux guy? And he goes, yeah, that's my company. And so I started talking to him. I talked to him all the way through the airport. And so early on at Martin, I hired a guy named Nick Freed, who went on to become very successful in the industry. He, with a couple of other guys, started Inner Circle Distribution. And so this guy told me he worked at Inner Circle for a long time. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I've worked with those guys for years and really helped one of them get his start. And he said, who? And I said, Nick Freed. And he goes, oh, man, well, you must know my dad then, too, if you're friends with Nick. And I said, who's your dad? And he says, Dan Fallon. And I said, oh, my God, like I tailgated with Dan at the football games here for, I don't know, 10, 12 years or something. I've known him I've known him longer than you've been alive to this guy, right? And so it's just really weird. It's a small world. And then I found out that a former guest of Geezers of Gear, Michael Meacham, designed and programmed the booth, the Volux booth. Yeah, so not an endorsement for their product. I don't know anything about it, so I'm not telling you it's great, and I'm also not telling you it's bad. The people are nice, I will tell you that, and I wish them well. They're a relatively young company. They've done a really nice booth. Hopefully that turns into some business for them. The other thing that I thought was cool was and you'll remember it even though you might not know the name, but the Blizzard booth was the one with the Ferris wheel and the festival, the fair,
That was
carnival fair.
that was totally shone out. I was like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
I don't know if you saw, but it won the best booth design. It
I'm
won
not
an award for
surprised.
that.
Yeah,
No kidding. I mean, that was so friggin' creative how they did that.
yeah.
Like the brochure was like a menu from the cotton candy stand kind of thing, and they had all the little
It
exhibits
was
set up.
interactive,
It
really
was
interactive, you know?
it really was. What a cool design. Again, I don't know if the products are any good. I've never really been a big Blizzard guy, but
Do you think that will
very
be
creative.
a sort of a marking point of how different brands will change their stand to how it would look to make it more
No,
interactive? Sense?
I interactive, yes, perhaps, but
Mm-hmm.
we've gone that direction. Like when everybody went away from light shows, everyone went to these more interactive booths where you could walk up and hit a touch panel thing and the light would come on and you could change patterns and you could do all these
Okay.
things. And then everybody wanted light shows back again. So all the big companies, Chauvet and Martin
Right.
and High End and all these companies started switching and doing light shows again. And so, yeah, I think it was cool. Was it the best way to show their lighting? Probably not. Like, I don't know anything. Volux, I feel like I know everything about all their products. Blizzard, I don't know anything about any of their products. So there's your answer,
Yeah.
Like, I think an innovative, smartly designed, well-programmed show can be much more beneficial than a funky-looking, state fair kind of booth.
Yeah.
But I'm not knocking them because I think it was extremely creative and it got a lot of attention. And we're talking about Blizzard lighting right now. So,
Yeah.
that to me is worth it. The fact that you grabbed some attention. And it was cool. And I think they deserved that Best Booth Award.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I didn't see the drone show because we ended up going out to dinner
No,
on
you
Monday.
forgot to tell me about it.
When was it? Was it Sunday or Monday? I can't remember. It was Monday.
Monday.
Yeah. I think I told you about it.
No, you told me after. You said,
I?
I'm sorry, Sarah. I think I forgot to tell you.
Well, I
was
did.
like-
I completely forgot. But it would have messed with our dinner plans and stuff anyways because it was at like 6:30 or something on Monday.
Yeah.
So I didn't see it.
And you had to get in the shower, make yourself look beautiful. For us.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, if you've seen 10 drone shows, you've probably seen 1,000. They're all kind of the same at some point. But I still would have liked to see it. It would have been fun. I don't know. I can't think of much else. I mean, there were such great booths there. People are obviously spending money. Companies are spending money because those booths, like some of those big booths, were $1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million here, $1 million here, $1 million here, $1 million here.
Well, I just want to say how I was very honored to be invited with you to the upstaging event. That was for me.
Yeah,
that
we
was
can't forget about that.
Yeah, no, it was so lovely, and like the whole event was just to be invited to that was great. So thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, it's
And you've been going since the day one, haven't you?
well, that's what I was just going to say. And Patrick Dearson and I were talking about this because the very first one was probably, I don't know, 20 years ago ish. And Patrick Dearson and I were both at that one. And it was one table at the Wynn with probably 12 or 15 people at the table. And that's it. It was just a dinner. And it was, somehow I got invited and somehow Patrick Dearson got invited. And we're both extremely proud to have been invited.
Ooh.
But here I am 20 years later. And every year I get the email with the invitation saying, we'd love for you to come to our wine tasting party or whatever they call it. And it's just so cool to go to because it's literally a who's who of the touring business.
Yeah.
Lately it's grown to include a lot of suppliers. There's a lot of manufacturer reps and stuff like that go, and that's not a bad thing. But there's still it's a great group of lighting designers and production managers and managers. And last year or the year before, I was hanging out with Sebastian Bach from Skid Row, the singer
you
from
did that.
Skid Row. Yeah. So, it's honestly, like when Hud was at our, John Huddleston was at our thing at Dining with Dinosaurs, he, I was talking to him and he said, "Hey, were you at the party? I didn't even see you. I was, busy." And I said, "Yeah, I was there." I didn't actually get over to say hi to him because he always had a stack of people in front of him. I said, "I was there," and he said, "Did you have fun?" And I said, "John, honestly, I'm just honored to be invited every year because, yes, Gear Source works with upstaging a little bit, but it's not like I'm an important supplier to them like I was in my past life. These days it's more just a friendship than anything." So,
And wonderful friendship.
yeah. Well, and it is, like you said, it's a cool
And I met
party and it's
Robin
just cool to be
when she came
invited.
up as well to
Oh yeah,
the,
Robin Shaw. Yeah. Yeah.
really, um, just a really, really cool, down to earth,
She's a good lady.
funny
Yeah.
stories again being told.
Yeah.
Like, that for me again, that was one of my highlights,
Yeah.
meeting Robin at the Dining with Dinosaurs towards the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it was so busy at the upstage, we didn't even get to say hello to her.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
We because I'm going to blame it on the jet lag. We left, I think, about 11ish, I think.
No, we left earlier than that. We left at like probably 10:15.
Wait,
We followed young Seth Jackson out.
don't say his name. Don't say his name.
Who? Seth? Seth left earlier than us, and I remember
Have
just going,
you?
"Oh, hey, Seth," and then ran out the door like I was chasing after him or something. And then, of course, as we're trying to sneak out, we run into Robert Carone, founder of Upstaging, and he's like,
But that
"Oh,
was so.
hey, Marcel, are you leaving?" And I'm like, I was kind of thinking about it. Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. Well, and then had a nice long talk with him about life.
Yeah, so that's probably why I thought it was 11, because I think we literally was with him for like 45 minutes chatting at the end.
Probably, yeah. Probably. Yeah, we had a long talk. It was nice. No, I love that event. Every time I go to it, and actually the last one that I went to wasn't last year because I didn't go to LDI last year, but the year before, Claudette was with me.
Oh, you said that, and she was at the table drinking wine. And,
yeah. So Claudette is my sister / CFO at Gear Source, and she had never been to something like that, and she's a big wine drinker. She loves wine, and part of the fun of this event is that Robert Carone is a big wine guy, and the wine is always tremendously good. It's just excellent wine, excellent wine. So
it was just flowing,
and
whenever
the food was good.
Oh yeah,
because we didn't have time to have dinner before, and I'm glad we didn't. Like they had just killer food. Yeah,
everything. And at one point they were just like leaving it all on our table, and I was like, "No, guys, like, please,
I
like,
partook.
no more."
Yeah, I definitely partook. I remember when that drunk guy started berating me. I won't say who he was or what company he was from, but
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, that was bizarre.
I mean, at first he was friendly with me, and of course, I don't know many people there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, someone's talking to me, amazing. Then I was like, oh no, you're only talking to me because you're drunk.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he was like, then he just like attacked you, and I was standing there, and I was like, wrong place, dude, wrong place. Like,
when you were probably also thinking, how long is Marcel going to take this before he shuts the guy down?
Well, I did. He was very polite for,
Yeah. Until I told him to go
seconds.
fuck himself, basically, which did happen because I had enough at one point. It was just like, you need to shut up. You're drunk. Please
But
just
then
shut
he
up.
was still standing next to me, and he was like, what have I done? I was like, don't talk to me. I'm staying out of this.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I went to his boss and said, you need to get him out of here. He's drunk. He's not making you look good right now. Trust me. But anyways.
I said to you, didn't I? I said, can you imagine it? I mean, I would like to say I was very good because I was drinking white wine. So the white wine wasn't as free flowing as the red.
Yeah.
So not that I was complaining. I was happy with what I had. And I was like, can you imagine? I said, if I'd done that, if I had just been necking back the white wine, got totally hammered, and then someone come up to you and goes, I think you should remove your employee.
Yeah.
I'd be mortified.
Well,
next day I'd be like,
yeah, that would have been bad. It wouldn't be the first time, though, bizarrely. So in another company I used to own, and I won't say who the employee was because he's actually since passed away, sadly, but I had an employee And we had a major national account who was worth millions of dollars in business for us. And he was invited to go to their national convention, their national conference with all of their franchise owners in Orlando. Big event. And so he proceeds to get drunk off his ass. And then the owner of the entire company, the entire franchise company's daughter, he starts coming on to her, like in just the most disgusting ways, like nice tits, lady, and all this stuff, right?
No.
Like just disgusting. And so finally, the CEO of the company, the owner of the company, goes to our head of franchising, and he says, hey, look, your employee has gone beyond offensive at this point. I'm going to give him a little bit of, leeway in that I know that he's drunk and we've been serving him alcohol, but you need to get him out of here right now.
Yeah.
Because if I have to take him out, it's not going to be pleasant. And he told him what he said to his daughter multiple times and all of this stuff. And my guy was so embarrassed, and he took him back to the hotel, like under, total like argument. Like he was just like, oh, I don't need to leave. I'm fine. And then calls me and says, hey, do you mind if I fire him in the morning? And I said, no, not at all. That's what he deserves. And
it's funny, I wonder how many people got fired during this LDI, because even when my very first one at Plaza, there was an incident very similar to that. One gentleman,
I remember
extremely
that.
drunk, and the next day the lady put in a complaint. Then somebody else had put in a complaint, and then before long. But because now it's not as simple as can I just fire him?
Yeah,
they had to go through HR, they had to go through meetings, they had to go through this. But I knew this person, and I knew he was extremely drunk.
Yeah.
And I said, I've got to leave. I told his boss, I'm leaving. I'm not putting up with this anymore. But I knew he was drunk, so I just walked
I
away.
remember that situation. Yeah.
But really, then the poor boy, the next day, he was like, Sarah, I think I've really basically, I've effed up. I said, you have.
Yeah.
I said, you have. I said, so.
You gotta, I must admit, I've been drunk at LDI, more than once. And, but you have to have control over yourself when it comes to being completely disrespectful, especially to women, and that's where, like, most men can take most things that you say to them, I think. And I'm not being sexist, but it's
no,
just true.
I understand that. But I just think it's the time now. It's where we are now.
Yeah, it is the time
20
now.
years ago, you could have got away with it. It's not even getting away with it. It just wasn't the thing that you then got fired for.
Yeah. No, it was practically acceptable back then to say, hey, toots, nice, whatever. Yeah. And, or, for like the guy who owns the company to smack the secretary in the ass as she's walking by or something. Like that stuff happened, when I was way younger in my life. It doesn't anymore. Like it's a different world now.
Yeah. And I mean, not just
to not recognize that is just, ignorance. It's stupidity, really, in a sense, right? Yeah. So, even me, knucklehead me, I recognize that we're in a different world today and would never say those things or do those things.
No, but it's not even about being, those kind of things. The incident with you, 20 years ago, maybe it happened, but you'd walk away or whatever. But, if you wanted to, you could put a complaint in against that, we're at a nice party. The behavior of this gentleman was unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, so many things.
I never would, but,
No.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I would just, it just so happens that all of his bosses are good friends of mine for 30 plus years, so I'm the wrong person for him to do that, to put it that way, But
people make mistakes.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen.
No, I know.
But
that's why I'm not just saying fire that guy right now.
No,
or anything.
I'm not saying that you want to fire
but
them.
you do need to say something, because he needs to learn that you can't get blitzed at a party that you don't even belong at, by the way, because he's not even from this part of the industry. Like, he shouldn't have even been there, to be perfectly honest. So, So yeah, anyways, whatever. I'm not complaining. It happens. And, but yes, when it comes to, going after the boss's daughter in a very rude and disgusting way, and even doing it within earshot of the boss.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they're our customer. We're there as a supplier by invite for free, you know, all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. It was just disgusting. So yes, he got fired in this situation. And by the way, it wasn't like he had some problems with alcohol and drugs. And so it wasn't the first time that we had sort of a
yeah.
run in like this. It was the first one this bad. And it was the first one in front of a customer too. So yeah, you just have to be smarter than that. That's all there is to it. Our industry, you know, has been tolerant of it for so long, but
Yeah.
isn't anymore. You know, it
And I want
really
to say
isn't
as
anymore.
well how very touched I was at for the Craig Burrows for the toast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That
didn't know
was,
him. I
yeah,
didn't,
I
but
did.
to go there for everybody that came together. I
Mm,
mean, the lovely the photo display at the back,
yeah.
like
Yeah. It
yeah,
was
it was
nice that they did that. To be
yeah,
perfectly
really.
honest, you know, hell yeah to Roby. Like they have not only been incredibly sensitive and incredibly respectful, but they've just been outpouring with love and
Yeah,
gratitude for Craig for his life. They've taken very good care of his widow. You know, they've really been huge in all of this, and you know, he was a big part of the company, so good on them for doing it. But yeah, that was a nice event. It was nice. Robert Mokry doing
yeah,
his little you know, memorial speech or whatever you call it. But no, it was nice. I'm glad you remembered that. I forgot about that one. But
yeah.
and you know, they also had a Craig Burrows Memorial Golf Tournament as well.
Ah, yes, they did. Yeah.
So yeah, Craig was one of my boys. I mean, he and I were friends for I don't know
Well, you only
35
saw him
years or
a
something.
couple of weeks and months before, didn't you, at the Formula One?
Yeah,
So
yeah, I did. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Sarah, it's been nice catching up with
it
you.
has.
I kind of miss you already, even though it's only been a couple days. I do and I don't. I do and I don't. You know, there's some things I miss. There's some things I definitely could do without.
You're lying. You miss all of me.
All
And it's
of
funny
me.
because he was like, Sarah, do you want to jump? Like this was at 7 o'clock this morning. It's like, Sarah, I got an idea. You know, let's do the LDI debrief today, and let's record it, and
Yeah,
let's it'll be
pop it out.
30 minutes. Well, we're
Yeah,
already 45. We just know to talk too long.
we're more than 45. We're an hour and eight.
Isn't it? Hey, oh
It's an
my
hour and
gosh.
8 minutes. Yeah. So, well, that's just because I let you talk so much. You know, I tried to stop you and you just don't stop.
I
So,
know. I love talking just as much as you do.
yeah. So, yeah, it's been fun and it was a
It
great
has.
show. And thanks everybody for listening and look.
And I'm going to say one more thing. Got to say
Oh,
one more thing. Oh, next week we're recording the Geezers of Gear Get Free and Festive podcast.
get
If you
friggin'
haven't heard
festive.
from me, reach out to me, producer at geezersofgear.com, and I'll send you the link. And it's going to be a group podcast. Bring a drink, and we're just going to wish everyone a happy Christmas, happy festive time, and like you used to do, an old school all
Yeah.
group
Like the
podcast.
weekly Zoom calls, but not on Zoom.
Yes,
And it's called Get Friggin' Festive. So,
exactly.
yeah, it should be fun. I look forward to doing that. All right, Sarah, you have fun in Las
Okay,
Vegas and no gambling and, you know this and know that and know whatever. And say hello to the wonderful Manoli,
I will do.
my favorite Greek.
Yeah.
All right. See you later.
Okay, take care of myself. Bye.
Bye. Yep.